Move forward. So we got next is the controversy surrounding the buyout market. So there's been a lot of discussion as to whether or not the buyout market or the way that players that are bought out needs to be restructured. I don't know if I said that properly, but basically, people or small market teams are upset because they're basically saying they have no leverage, right? When teams get bought out, they want to go to the hotspot destinations that have the capital, and they're basically saying it's an unfair system and it needs to be revamped. And hopefully, that's going to be a discussion brought up in the next CBA negotiation. But I guess I'll start off. I'll be quite honest. Like, I don't know what you want them to do. If a player gets bought out, it's on his own accord. He gave back some of the money from his previous contract to go where he wants to go. What are you upset about? Like, I just don't understand. You can't force somebody to go where they don't want to go as a free agent, right? And especially in the middle of a season when a team is clearly a contender and one's not. I just don't see how you rationalize the complaints. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, because if New York is a big destination, they don't get people on the buyout market because they're shit, right? I've seen teams in the past who aren't quote unquote big markets get buyout players, Portland, OKC. So I just don't understand the argument here. Like, I don't understand what the controversy is about. But Kev, what do you think?
First, I'd ask the question of, who are you blaming here? The team that bought him out or the player? Because there's a team buying him out. There's a team agreeing to pay less of his contract for him to walk free. So who are you mad at? Are those not the same small market teams? Is it not the Cavs that bought out Drummond, a small market team? Is it not the Spurs who bought out Drummond, a small to mid market team? Who are you mad at right now? Next, what I'd say is, there's no why, if I get bought out, I'm going where I'm going to win. That's kind of the common theme, because the money's basically the same. So, as Rob said, you can go anywhere you want. I just question, like, as Rob said, what's the rationale here? Who are you mad at? What's the solution? I think it's stupid. Like, the thought of it is stupid. The fact that, a guy like Drummond or a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge can just be on the Nets. What I find stupid is the fact that the Nets can trade all their players to get Harden, have about 3 roster spots in December, and know someone's coming through. Just keep those roster spots open, knowing that at some point, mans are going to get bought out. That they have no hastiness or any urgency to fill their roster because they know this is going to happen. I think that's stupid, but I just don't know how you fix it. And on the other hand, if you're mad that Drummond just went to the Lakers, why didn't you trade for him? The Cavs would have gave him for a second-round pick. What are you mad about? Spurs, on the other hand, Spurs agreed with LaMarcus Aldridge that they're going to work with him to find somewhere that he wants to go. So obviously, if you're a shit team and you want Aldridge, Spurs aren't going to trade him there. But in the case of Drummond, we never heard anything about them working with him to find a place he wants to go to. So trade for him. If not, shut up. These aren't mans that weren't available. These were mans that were available with a price. The Cavs would have loved to trade Drummond for a second rounder, for a fucking Twinkie, as opposed to buying him out. But there were no suitors. So when he goes, don't tell me he's not that guy where you're not willing to trade for him. But then once he signs with the Lakers, it matters now. And this is my problem with the NBA and with all these buyouts. You tell me Blake Griffin is shit. For 3 months, they went on a Blake Griffin is shit tour around the NBA. Announcers, everybody, how shit he is. Then he signs with the Nets, and now the NBA's rigged.
Save that shit on 2 dunks, though.
But fam, to give the other side, right? It's all about value in relation to how much you're getting paid. And obviously, like, when you're talking about these former great players, you become a former great. You usually become a former great on your great contract, on your greatly large contract. So at that point, the value doesn't match up with the production, and now you're shit. Like, now you're the worst player ever, and you're the worst contract ever, or whatever the case is. But when you get bowed out and you go to your next team, you're signing for the minimum. You're signing for $1 million. So now all of a sudden, it's a value. It's a huge value. A guy like Drummond, yes, people love to hate on Drummond, bro, and he is bad, but he's not as bad as people think. And for $1 million for a team like the Lakers that was starting Marc Gasol, I always say this. At the end of the day, fam, give me the idiot with the production. I don't want the genius without the production. Because, fam, I already have a coach. I have a coach. Why do I sign a coach for it? If you're telling me that I'm going to have Marc Gasol, who can't get a bucket, can't get a rebound, can't block a shot, give me the idiot with the production any day. And that's what the Lakers went out and did. Got a 2020 threat guy to fill in. And obviously, it's going to be an uproar because a man like Drummond, how doesn't matter how bad you want to say he is, a man like that should not be getting bought out. Period. A man should be expiring. A man like that should expire on his current deal
So
and walking
again, who are you
away.
mad at? So who are you mad at?
So what I'm saying is, you can't be mad at the team, but you have to be mad at the system in general.
You can definitely be
Fam,
mad at the team.
here's the thing. No, you can be mad at the Cavs because the Cavs should have just kept him. I'm saying that you can't for other teams. I'm saying for other teams that are looking at these big market teams and getting mad at them. I'm saying you can't be mad at those teams because those teams are playing off of a system that has just been in place and
Right,
they can
right.
exploit it. Generally, you're not. And that's what I'm saying. Guys like Drummond shouldn't be on the buyout. It should be mans like Marvin. What's that guy's name that went to the thing? Marvin something. I can't. Marvin
Marvin
Williams.
Williams?
Mans
Yeah.
like that should be getting bought out. Ursan Ilyasova. Those are the margin mans should be getting bought out. But mans like Drummond shouldn't be getting bought out. And that's the issue. Fix the system in general. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the system. It's not the players. Because at the end of the day, yes, everybody could have had Drummond, but nobody could have had Drummond for free like a handful of teams could have had.
But
And that's the problem.
I
But
think
that speaks to the free market, because if you look at it, the only reason why every team could have had Drummond, you just didn't want to trade for him. So now you're mad that when a competitor comes about and says, "Yo, this guy is going to decide where he's going to go," and he comes to us, you can't be mad because it doesn't. I don't think it has anything to do
They
about
literally
markets.
got him for $28 million less. That's the problem.
I hear that, but my thing is, I don't think you can attribute it to a market thing, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what market you're in. If you're good and the man wants to go there, he's going to go there. That doesn't have anything to do with you being LA or New York. It just so happens that those two teams are good and they have the roster spots available, and you're ring chasing. But if that was OKC and freaking Miami, you would have went same ways. Go ahead, Kev.
Like for me, it's just like the system is an issue. Are the Cavs supposed to keep a man that is doing nothing for their organization instead of cutting costs? Like, are you going to pay him that extra whatever $6 million he was left on his contract for the rest of the year, or are you going to buy him out and save money? Like, it's obviously when we're not considering money aspect and the financial aspect, it sounds cool. Just keep him instead of letting him walk for free, but it doesn't make sense for the Cavs. He's taking minutes away from Jared Allen, who's your center of the future, and what are you supposed to do? Tell him to just go home for the year and not buy him out? That's why, again, I don't know what the solution is. I think the way I see it, if you're getting a player that was bought out, you should have to bring on 50%, like a specific percentage of his previous contract. I think that's the issue here. I think that's the issue here. But again, maybe that ruins this free market idea, right? But I don't know. It's a weird concept because, as I said, the Nets trading all their players and just waiting for mans to get bought out is stupid in my opinion. But I'm not going to start pretending like these mans are guys. Like, I'm not going to move like Blake Griffin is a guy now after the league, including me, went on a Blake Griffin is washed tour. When he catches a dunk, we made jokes that Blake Griffin can't dunk. Obviously, he could dunk a basketball. Like, if you genuinely thought that was in question, you're an idiot. Right? Obviously, he can dunk a basketball. So now when he dunks, mans are talking about how he was saving himself, all that shit. Cut that shit out, bro. Like, he was shit.
I know he's even playing into it. He got a little rim grazer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not washed. I still got it. I still got it.
You threw that lob. DJ would have caught that like 6 inches higher. Still, you caught a rim grazer, and mans are screaming to the bench. Yo, just allow it.
Like I didn't see Chris Paul just do that in the All-Star game.
Yeah, Crazy that's what I'm saying. Like, he's catching Chris Paul lobs. Like, yo, allow it. I knew you could dunk a basketball, bro. You're 6'8". Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I know you can dunk a basketball. What we're talking about is the old Blake Griffin, and you're far from that. But when he signs with the Nets, now he's a guy. Miss me with all that shit, bro. LA's a bit different. I think LA's a bit different because obviously the Spurs weren't using him in the way that he's supposed to be used. So I don't compare him to Blake Griffin or Drummond. But yeah, like, I don't rate this idea that once you touch the Lakers or the Nets, all of a sudden we rate you. Last year, when Drummond got traded for a second-round pick, the league did not bat a single eye. That didn't have to do with the money back then, because he got traded for a second-rounder and Brandon Knight to match the contract.
Money. One team.
No, I understand. No, I'm talking about the trade. The trade, obviously, money mattered, but to people outside of that, when you saw Drummond go for a second-rounder, no one batted an eye. I specifically remember. No, they didn't. I remember no one cared. I'm talking about the media. Not a soul cared about that.
You
I
talking about
remember
like the
Undisputed.
Stephen A's and the Skip Bayless?
Yes, but I'm talking about the media in general. There was no uproar. Not just them. Like, I'm talking about the media. There was no uproar when he got traded for a second and Brandon Knight.
Yeah, there wasn't still.
There was none. We look at it,
I don't
might be
know
like,
about-
damn, that's it. We can look at it and say, oh, us, and say, oh, that's it. But I'm talking about widespread uproar. There was none. He went there.
Nah,
He
there
played.
wasn't any uproar, but man still noted it and said, "Damn, like that's where Drummond's value is going."
Okay, and
But
no
yo,
man said that
there's a
he was
point of
worth
fact
more
to
than that.
consider here, though. There's an important fact. The reason why I think a lot of people didn't have an uproar about it is because of the fact that nobody wanted to pay him that money if he opted into the player option.
No, I'm not arguing why he got traded for the second, right? I'm saying he got traded for the second, and Mans didn't really care. Right now, when he's a Laker, Mans are moving like this guy's supposed to be the saving grace.
True.
Whether or not you believe he can be doesn't change the fact that when he was moving from Detroit to the Pistons, not a soul gave a fuck about this guy. Not a soul said, why didn't the Lakers go get him for that second round pick? Nobody gave a shit. Now when he's on a buyout market, now he's a guy. I'm not saying, again, for what you can do for $1 million, that's extreme value. But let's not move like this guy's a star or he's somebody now when you didn't care about this guy till he was about to get bought out. That's it.
On $1 million, he's a star. So it's just an undeniable fact. It's an undeniable, like however you look at it.
There's bare value.
Once you talk about the
right?
money towards what he is, he's a superstar for that money.
I get it. I understand adding him for free is a big deal. But in what world is a second round pick not free? When the Cavs got him for free, no one gave a fuck. That's my point. Now that the Lakers are getting him, he matters. So whether or not you think he matters doesn't change the fact that the grand scheme, the consensus, did not think this man mattered until he was an option for the Lakers and the Celtics. And that's my issue. Stop lying to me. Don't tell me when he's a Laker player, you think he's a guy now. Last year, you didn't give a fuck about him. So keep it the same until he shows you otherwise. If he goes to the Lakers and he's a guy, cool. But don't act like he is now because he's a Lakers target. I don't rate that shit. And I'm a Lakers fan. I just don't rate it.
I hear that.
Shout out to Drum still. He made the right decision. Bundle Celtics and go get your ring, boss.
Be tragic if he goes up there and doesn't get a ring. That's crazy.